Everybody could join in here. 1 second. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. Join in here. 1 second. So a little bit of a different day than yesterday, right? So a big inside day on the SPX. We'll take a look at that in a minute here. But today we're going to be wrapping up our little mini series here on day trading volatility, and today we're going to be talking about options and how volatility, gets in with the options. So, before we get started, and very important for this week for sure. Before we get started, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. All right, awesome, 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 good, good, good. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see where we left off with the market here today, and then we are going to take a look at the futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening, and then we're going to take a look, and we're going to go through the topic, and then we'll take a look at questions and chart requests. So let's get started. All right, so let's take a look at the SPX here. So SPX here on the monthly chart, wow, it was red earlier, right? But it was green today. In fact, it was up about 70 points today, until it pulled back here at the end of the day and up 36 points here today. So still green here on the monthly chart, back above the upper Bollinger Band. Weekly chart was a bearish engulfing candle going in today, but we got one more trading day left to see how they finish this week. It'll be very, very interesting. Daily chart, Rutro, we got an upper shadow here off the ADMA. Okay, so we talked about our wave 4 possibly pulling back, our sub-wave 4 possibly pulling back here to the cloud, to the macro trend line, kind of a line in the sand right here if they decide to take this thing down. But we'll see how they do it today. I mean, last night, the futures were down pretty harsh, right? But they still ended up pushing it up into the open. Then we were up like 70 points at one point here over the ADMA, but now we are below it here with an inside day. So very interesting stuff. See how it handles this inside day. If we take it down, if we confirm below these levels, then we'll see how well this wave 4 gets tested if it does. Let's take a look at the intraday price action. So again, like I said, the futures kind of screamed up this morning, and then boom, big rip on the SPX at the open, right? So after yesterday's nasty down day, right? Remember, a big down move at the open, then a flush at the close, right? A little bit of a rip right there, and then boom, back up again. So really interesting stuff because yesterday was Fed day, right? It was also earnings, right? We also had earnings on Apple, Facebook, Tesla, right? So we had a lot of stuff going on, right, this week. Well, very busy week. Plus we had all the GameStop stuff. So making stuff really wild, right? So we ended up pushing up here and kind of holding the ADMA for a while, and then we get this inside 15 down, and then we were below the ADMA, and then we did this inside 15 down to kind of finish the day off here on SPX today. So let's take a look at the futures and see what we are up to or down to here this evening. So you can see here, again, pretty wild moves, right? So one of the big things we were looking for on our game plan today, initially, was a push above this signal zone. And if we can get above there, we were looking to test the next signal zone. Well, that happened, but they started doing it pre-market. So it was a really fast move at the open to get up here, and it kind of stalled for a little bit. Some choppy price action. We tagged the signal zone above, bounced off of here again. Then we got above the zone. It was like, oh, timber, right back down. So we'll see how we go this evening, right? So basically it's sort of looking like who knows, maybe this is like the start of like a shoulder, a head, maybe a shoulder type thing going on right here. We're kind of chopping around this evening. We're down about 13 points. So let's see how they handle it here today. This is actually the 15-hour blow, right? So this is your opening range candle right here. So let's see how this holds. Right now it's holding a support going into the evening. If not below there, we could test the signal zone here and possibly test a couple of the levels below. So very, very interesting stuff here going into the evening. So keep an eye on this geometric line right here going into the night. See how it holds. Let's go right there. Let's go there. See how it holds. If we break above there, it might try to push this thing up a little bit. So we'll see where we go from there. So good stuff. So today we're going to be wrapping up our series here on day trading volatility. And today we're going to be talking about options. So this is really, really important for this week. I wanted to start off this week by defining what the VIX is and then defining what VIX futures are and a couple of the VIX products. So you guys know what's kind of going on there. Measurements of volatility within the market. But now we're going to talk about how they apply to options, and not just the options on those products, but just just generally on options, right? So and how they apply. So let's take a look here. Let's go to let's just do a quick definition of how option pricing is calculated, right? So option pricing is calculated this way, right? So what we do is we take. Let me make sure you guys can see this stuff. Yeah. So what we do is the option is equal to the intrinsic value. So option pricing, option premium, is equal to intrinsic value plus extrinsic value. Okay, so that's the basic definition of option pricing, right? So, and then from there we need to define what intrinsic value is. So intrinsic value is is equal to basically the absolute value of the current price minus the strike price. Okay, so however you want it, it's the absolute value of it, or the positive number. Okay, so the current price minus the strike price. So let's just take a look at an example right here. Let's go. Let's take a look and just see let's pull up a chart here. Give me 1 second. Let me switch over to this screen here. A little messy there in the ES. Let's take a look here. Give me 1 second. Let me find that chart. Where is that one hiding? Okay, there we go. Let's just take a look at a simple one here. Let's just take a look at AMD. Okay, let me pull up a clean chart on this. All right, so AMD, what did it close at? All right, so we closed at $87.52. So a real quick way to do this is if you guys are looking at if you guys use Thinkorswim, real quick way to do this is just to is simply be like, okay, so the right, so we want to look at the strike price. Okay, so what we would do is we would look to see if we're in the money. Right, so the difference, we've talked about options in the past. So if we're in the money or out of the money, right? So you have, so let's look at the 90 calls. Okay, so or say the 90 puts on this one. Okay, so we'd be in the money on this, right? So so the 90 puts. So really, what would be the absolute value of the strike price, right? So the 90s minus where we are right here. So say it's 87.50, right? So we're about $2.50. So the puts, the 90 puts should be their intrinsic value, right? Is $9. It should be the 90 put should be $2.50. That's exactly what we're seeing right here. Okay, so we're about $2.50 off of that. So that's good. So what does that mean? Right? That means that's where we are at the strike right here. So what happens then when we get out of the money? Right? So what happens when we're out of the money? When we're out of the money, right? We're let's say we go to the 80 puts, right? Well, we got the absolute value right there. So we're down at $7.50. Right? But wait a second, it doesn't matter, right? So that there is no intrinsic value. The intrinsic value is only if you're in the money, right? So if you look at the 88 puts, right? So if you look at the 88 puts, you're in the money by like 50 cents. Okay, so you're in the money by like 50 cents. Okay, on the 88 puts. But why are these $1? They should be 50 cents. Okay, well, let's take a look and see. Okay, so that's the intrinsic value. That's if you're in the money, right? So if we go back to the ES chart here, let's pull this up. Hopefully you guys can see this, okay? Yep. Okay, so the intrinsic value is if you're in the money, right? So if you're in the money. Intrinsic is if in the money. If in the money is the absolute value of that. Otherwise, it's just intrinsic, it's just extrinsic value. So intrinsic value is only if you're in the money. Okay, if you're out of the money, it's only extrinsic value. So what is extrinsic value? So extrinsic value is equal to time value, plus volatility. Okay, so that's how option pricing is determined. Okay, so if we go back to our AMD example here, we go back to our AMD example. So instead of being 50 cents, right, this is about 60, 70 cents more, right? So where's that money coming? Well, that is all time value, and the rest of it is volatility. Okay, so how do we determine that? All right, well, volatility is basically based on when we expire, right? So you can see here we don't have a lot of time value because these expire tomorrow, right? So they expire logarithmically, right? So if you go to next week's, right, you're going to see the in the monies here. Whoa, okay, wow, these are $2. There's a lot more. Okay, well, the volatility is a little bit more here, and this is where you guys see volatility in Thinkorswim, implied volatility. Okay, so we can start to see it's about 50%, right? That's not too bad. 50% is not too bad. Okay, that's okay. That's kind of tradable, right? Your spreads, the spreads are a little bit higher here on AMD, but 50% is not horrible, right? And when you start to get used to stock names that you like to trade, you'll start to see when their volatility is starting to get high, right? It's not too bad for AMD, right? But why is it $2? Well, that's because we got more time value baked into it, right? So as time goes by, they lose value unless you get more in the money, and then they start to increase, right? So there's always it's a game with options, right? It's tricky. It's not as easy as trading shares, right? You have to pay attention to the time value, and you have to pay attention to the volatility. Okay, so really, really important stuff. So what's been going on this week with all these other crazy names? Well, what's been going on with all these crazy names is that there's been a lot of volatility. One, because the market makers and the option pricing doesn't know how to determine the value, right, or the volatility. So when the price starts going crazy, remember how we talked about the definition of volatility, right? Well, for the VIX, the volatility is based on the SPX options, right? The options 30 days out or so, a little bit more than 30 days out or so on the options of the SPX, right, for the VIX. But for the options themselves, for the stocks themselves, it's based on the price movement of it, right? So if you have crazy price swings in a stock, that is going to affect the volatility, right? So if we go to a name like GameStop, okay, so if we go to a name like GameStop, right, if we go to the daily chart here, right, normal volatility on this thing is pretty tame, right? If you go back to the weekly chart, I mean, this thing was chopping around nowhere forever, right? If this is the daily chart. Let's go to the weekly chart. I mean, nowhere. I mean, right, $4. I mean, this thing is just doing nothing forever, right? And then look at this price swings that we've had, like $400 in a week. Okay, so that makes the volatility go crazy, right? So the option pricing goes crazy, right? So let's take a look at GameStop and let's take a look at the volatility. So if y'all remember AMD, right? AMD was only 50% volatility. Let's go to GameStop and let's take a look at the volatility on this thing. 832%. That's crazy. Now, normally on a normal stock before earnings, the volatility goes up, right? That's why there's this thing called the vol crush, right? After earnings, the volatility just drops, right? So that's why the quote unquote the house wins, right? The house wins because it's like after earnings, unless it really moves after earnings. That's why you guys see like premiums really get chopped up after earnings because the volatility drops after earnings. That's why a lot of people like to sell premium. It's very risky. I've done videos on that, on iron condors and things like that. Okay, so this is how these market makers protect themselves in a way, right? Is the volatility goes up, right? Because the price swings go up. There's a lot of mathematical formulas here, but at the same time too, they got the spreads like crazy, right? You're $100 by $80 spreads on GameStop going into tomorrow. It's nuts. It's nuts, right? So really interesting stuff. So right now, right, you got all this crazy action, right? So so today we closed at 193. We're back up to 316. So we were in the money at the time was 193. Right, so you can see right here, even in the money, right? The options were look at the volatility in it, right? So 93 minus 95, for instance, right, is what, $2, right? So basically, the in the money should be $2, except you have 800% volatility cooked into these things, and now these things are $40. It's all volatility based in that, and therein lies the risk of trading out of the money. Right, and a lot of times it lies the risk of also just simply trading naked options. Now, we have tactics that we use in our group to trade naked options, just straight calls and puts, where we can capitalize on momentum moves, right, which helps us on our premiums, right? But a lot of folks like to sell premium, right? So when you sell premium, you take in the premium, you take it in as income, right? And then when the volatility drops, right, then you can bank your money. Right, so does that make sense? Right, so the price will drop on it when the volatility drops, and then you buy it back at a cheaper price, right? And that's where you make your profit, right? So that's the idea with that. Okay, so that's how you do it, right? So this is a very important thing, right? Especially with options, and we really need to keep an eye on the volatility when we're trading options to see how it's going to affect our risk and how where we put our stops and whether or not we get into a trade or not. So today I saw a couple setups today, but they were only going to be small moves. My targets weren't really huge on it, and I had to avoid the trade because of the way the pricing was. The volatility was high on a lot of these names, right? Even names like SPCE, because of all this craziness that's been going on in the market. I mean, 200% volatility. It doesn't have earnings for a while, right? I mean, yesterday these things were priced at like $7 in the money. You know what I mean? So, I mean, these things were high on volatility yesterday. It was crazy, right? So that's when you start seeing these things over 200% is huge, right? I mean, when you go into earnings or you got some big moves, I mean, Tesla, I mean, often has volatility, before earnings like 100%. Right now it's only 50%, right? It's actually not that bad on Tesla. And in fact, it's trading pretty well. Right, tomorrow should be an interesting day right here. I mean, we're about 1% of the option price. That's usually my sweet spot. Right, if we're at the money, I like to be at about 1%. So for an $800 stock, $8 is okay. Right, on something like AMD, right, if we're at an $80 stock, right, I want to be around $1, right, 80 cents. Right, and that's where we are, about $1.80 right here. That's where I want to be. Nice little decent volatility. Right. Okay, so that's the big thing. That's really the big thing that's been going on this week. So all these crazy short squeezes, everything, all these crazy swings in prices has raised the volatility on a lot of the crazy names, right? A lot of these crazy names, like BB, right? Bed Bath and Beyond, right? These things have been all over the 400% volatility, right? On a $14 stock. I mean, this stuff doesn't happen, right? I mean, so this has been such a wild week, and it's a really important week, guys, to notice this stuff when this stuff happens. So, that's really why I'm going. I mean, here, like Bed Bath and Beyond. I mean, 400% volatility, right? It's crazy, right? So it's really, really tough to trade this stuff, and that's been the reason that Robinhood's been going down, right? All these the brokers haven't been allowed to trade it, right? And there's so much risk involved. They're taking a lot of risk too, trying to make the market on these things, right? And sometimes you got to it's hard for them to make the market, so they make the spreads almost impossible to trade, right? We saw this not only here, but we also saw it during the Corona crash. Right, so this type of stuff right here is reminding me a lot of the Corona crash. Right, this is one of the big things one of the big issues, right, that we saw. So really, really crazy stuff, right? But that is all because of volatility, and that's how it's cooked into the pricing, and it makes it very challenging. And you have to be very, very precise with your trading, or be very good at selling premium, right? It's actually kind of funny. One of our members in our group pointed out trying to sell volatility on the just a credit spread on GameStop the other day, and it actually would cost them money to take in to sell the premium. It was like one spread was like minus $2,500 or something like that. You'd have to pay money. It's crazy, and that's what volatility can do. The other thing that volatility can do, typically what happens, volatility tends to go up. Volatility tends to go up when the stock price goes down, right? And why is that? Well, typically, it stairs up in an elevator down. So what happens is the price changes all of a sudden, and that's the other thing I wanted to point out, right? Price changes really, really quickly when we drop, right? That's why I love shorting, right? But you got to be, if you're shorting, especially if you're day trading, if you're shorting, you got to take advantage of it when it happens. That's why it's so much fun. But because if it continues to go, then it's hard to get back in because the volatility spikes up again. That's why, if you guys have ever seen it before, sometimes if a stock drops fast enough, because the price action is so fast, the calls actually go up. And why is that? Well, it's because we already talked about. It's because the volatility goes up. So we've seen that before. In fact, there was a discussion in our group the other day. Somebody had calls on, I think it was Tesla, and the stock was going down, but the calls were going up because the volatility was so high. Right? Really, really wild stuff. So, and a lot of times selling premium can help with that, but it has to calm down. Right? So it has to calm down, right? So I mean, if you're selling premium is not just a solution to everything, right? If you're selling premium, right? Right? If the volatility keeps going up, right? The whole idea of selling premium is you want the volatility to go down. But if it keeps going up, you get trapped too, right? That's the hard part, right? So, especially with something like GameStop, things like that. So, it's a very precise thing, but you need to know about it, right? This is a very, very important tool to use. If you like to day trade certain names, you need to be familiar with it when things are starting to get really crazy on it. Now, it can be a big advantage, right? So if you have a position, right? For instance, if you had a position, if you were long on GameStop for a while, right, before the volatility kicked in, and you had, like, say, long calls on it, well, once that volatility started to spike up, that's just beautiful, right? You start to get that premium just starts to really, really go up, and it makes the options go up even more. So if you're on the right side of the trade, it can be great, right? But it is something to consider when you're looking to enter the trade, to see what you're at, what the average volatility of the stock is, and you can track that, right? I mean, there's a couple of things you can do. If just real quick here on this one, I think you can go here. If you go to studies, you can go to implied volatility. And you can actually chart it, I believe. Let's see how it goes right here. Yeah. So you can essentially chart it right here. So with GameStop, right, you can track your volatility. Right? It's this is showing it on a scale, right, on a scale factor, but you can at least look at it percentage-wise to see how high this volatility got here. Right? So that's another helpful tool that you guys can use too. Anyway, I thought this was a good topic for this week, and hopefully you guys found this helpful. And at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we will get through as many as we can and try to wrap it as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff there. All right, so let's see what we got here. So let's go to the top right here. So Rocky, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing great. Yeah, so let's take a look. So GameStop. AMC, Robinhood. So hilarious stuff right there. Yeah, GameStop just wild all day today. It did actually give some intraday setups today. I looked at trading and I was like, I don't know, $120 with a $50 spread. I don't know about that one, but pretty wild on that one. But a lot of brokers weren't even trading them today, which is wild. And AMC, another big one too, big upper shadow on that one. So very very interesting stuff. The real interesting thing is Robinhood, are they actually going to go public now? And what's going to happen with Robinhood if they go public? It's going to be hilarious. So anyway, good stuff there. ZK, what's going on? Let's take a look at Triple D and see how it's looking right here. Yeah. So let's see. So Triple D making the move. This thing's been epic. Nice pushes here. This is a nice weekly chart on this one here. And again, it's continuing to grind its way up. A little bit of a bull flag. Worked its way up there. Lower shadow here off the ADMA so far. But again, this one's been getting pretty wild here too. So good stuff. RXT. Yes, RXT Rackspace Technology. Okay, yes, this thing chopped forever, right, on the Amazon acquisition news, stuff like that. Finally broke out here, right, for a nice little short squeeze on that one. CLOV. Clover Health, yeah, nice push on this one here too. Kind of chopping around a little bit after hours. Just kind of see how it holds these levels right here. It could be kind of like this larger bull flag, so just kind of see it. It's kind of chopping in that range right there. X marks the spot. We had earnings when? Tonight, right? Let's see, that looks like they lost less money than they were expected to, so it's pushing up a little bit after hours, kind of crazy here after hours, but see if we can get over today's highs if it wants to show any strength. And AMBA, let's take a look. Ambarella. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so Ambarella, nice. Yeah, so it's a pretty good push here today off the 50-day moving average. See if we can get back over the 8-day and see where we go from there. So good stuff. So Shirley sent a few in via email. So Shirley, hope you're doing great. Let's take a look at BTBT. Okay, yeah, BTBT, nice little breakout candle there today. Up nicely after hours too. Let's see if they get some follow through on that one. RPRX. Royalty Pharma. Okay, interesting. Yeah, nasty down move on that one here today, but not a lot of volume. So see if it gets any downside movement or volume picks up on it there. DBD. Okay. Yeah, I mean, interesting push right there. Yeah, it got real tight there at the 80 and then pushed up there on Diebold. And then Con. Yeah, big breakout candle on that one there. Very nice. And then the silver, the next Wall Street Bets idea, right? So this thing was pretty epic here this morning. We did a quick trade on this at the open for a quick push here today. Volatility was getting pretty high on silver, pretty rare for silver, but they really rallied it up here this morning on that, saying like, hey, this is the next one to do. But this is, it's tough to push the metals, but we'll see how it goes on that one. But good stuff there. Thanks, Shirley. I appreciate it. The Nest, what's going on? OPK, let's take a look. So OPK, a little bit of a choppy day today. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Big inside day on OPK. So let's see if we can take that inside day up. Fetch. Let's take a look at Farfetch here. Wow, it looks a little bit interesting there. Nice candle there today. That's good. Kind of some crazy geometric levels right here. Kind of megaphone-ish. Right, but I like how it bounced off these levels right here. Yeah, let's see if we can kind of push its way up here to that 63 level. It could be interesting there on Farfetch. GG, what's going on? Fubo, let's take a look. Fubo, oh yeah, this is a great, we had this one overnight yesterday for a nice push up to fill the gap. I mean, it did its job, right? So big upper shadow off of that one, and then just a flush here today on Fubo. Very interesting stuff here. And PLTR too was another one. Big move yesterday. Crazy moves today. Right, another big push it, and then another flush on that one, but very, very nice breakout recently out of the triangle, right, ABCD, and it could be working on sort of like a 1-2, and it might be starting to work on a wave 3, so we'll see how that goes on PLTR. And then Amazon, let's take a look. Let's take a look at Amazon with the inside day. So again, on this one here, I'm just kind of looking for the 618 off of the last move, if we kind of go here. Right, so we have big triangle range, right? A, B, C, D, E, wave 4, 1, 2, 618. Let's see if we can test it here off this inside day, and then if it's ready to break out of this triangle. Otherwise, still jumping around in there. Unbelievable stuff there. Then let's see, we also got MOS. Let's take a look. MOS looking interesting. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so it started to work its way into the gap there today. That was nice. Nice little push on that one here today. Let's see if it gets any follow through on that. A little less volume, but we're doing okay. NLS, yeah. Up, inside, up, inside. So just kind of chopping around these ranges right here. Still has that gap above, which it couldn't quite fill the other day. So let's see if it does get any tread to it. So good stuff there. And then Trit, down a little bit here this morning. So just kind of hanging in there. below these levels, right? So let's just kind of see how that holds. You got a couple geometric levels right here. Again, it's trying to hold these levels, so see how that goes. Good. And then CF, let's take a look. Yep, CF hanging in there, looking pretty good. We got a fresh trend line up here, back below the trend line. Again, here's kind of your key area right here. If we break below here with the bottom of this candle right here with any volume, that's really the one you kind of want to keep an eye on there. So good stuff. And go, let's take a look. Go, wake me up before you go. So crazy moves after hours here on this one's another wild name, right? But it did give a big push there the other day, so that was pretty wild on that one too. And then CVLB, let's take a look. CVLB with an inside day up on this one. So a little bit of an upper shadow there today. Scott, what's going on? Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're doing great. Rosalind, what's going on? Let's take a look at SPCE. Great job today. SPCE kind of crazy, right, with all the volatility, but chopping a little bit of a choppy day here today. So gave some upside moves and some downside moves, and just getting wild right now. But it was a nice little pennant breakout here recently, and this was our trade of the week idea not too long ago, right back here, if y'all recall. So it's still getting follow through on that one. You gotta love it. So nice stuff there. Neo with an upgrade after hours. So definitely want to keep an eye on here today. Right, upgrade after hours, kind of hanging in there. Let's see if that holds going into tomorrow. I think a couple of the other Chinese electric vehicle names are looking pretty strong here as well. So what chart was I using here? I think it's supposed to be a 60-minute chart. That's what was going on there. I was like, where's my 80MA and clouds and stuff? Okay, cool. Pen, yeah, let's take a look at Pen. Could be an interesting one right here. Again, more loosening regulations on gambling and stuff like that. And kind of looking megaphone-ish right here, right? So see how it holds up here if it kind of tests the top of these levels right here and where it goes from there. But very, very interesting there on Pen. Let's take a look at Square. Yeah, Square was a big one today, right? Big recovery, guys. Evening Star reversal on Square. Evening Star reversal. Red candle. Real body below the prior real candle. Green body that closed over 50% of the range of the first candle. Evening Star reversal. Nice. Back over the 80MA here with increased volume. Let's see if this thing can make a little earnings run going on here. That'd be pretty wild. And laser. Let's take a look at this one here. Yeah, so we're trying on this one. It did give us a nice push, nice gap up, which is what we were expecting on Monday, right? So it gave a good push right here. It's sort of like your wave on up out of the triangle. Here's your wave 2 pullback, right? So let's take a look here and see. This thing's getting ready. Oh, right in the golden zone right there from the wave B. It's got to hold here. It's got to, right? And then we'll see if it can work its way up. So laser. Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Rosalind. Thanks so much. Krishna, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. IPOE. Let's take a look. IPOE back over the 80MA on this one. So looking kind of interesting there. Mara. A little Bitcoin action. How's the Bitcoin looking here tonight? Yeah, Bitcoin's doing good. They hodled the 50% retrace, so we're back over the 80MA on Bitcoin. You gotta love it. CCIV, let's take a look. I was kind of expecting that if the market started to get a little bit wild. CCIV over the 80MA, we talked about that in the bubble report too. Looking good over the 80MA on that one. SDC, again, big push on that one. Nasty pullback here today with a bearish engulfing candle, pretty close to it. And a tag of the 80MA before a bounce on that one. Nice stuff there. XL. Yeah, just kind of chopping around here below the 80MA. So it's again, keep an eye on that geometric line that we looked at yesterday, and then IDEX inside day on that one. See how that holds there. Creighton, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look at SI. SI almost an inside day there. Lower shadow off the 80MA on that one. TMO. How's this one? Is it getting any follow through from that breakout? Yeah, so it pulled back a little bit to that range, this range right here, but it held it as support. Right, it held that little range area of support right there, and then bounced up again here today, but still below the 80MA there with an upper shadow, so a little bit of caution off of that one. CVNA, let's take a look. Carvana filled the gap today and left an upper shadow on that one, so it looks like it did its job there. SE, upper shadow here off the 80MA on that one too. Neo, again, green here, still below the 80MA, up a little bit after hours. Let's see if that can hold on that news. MDB, a good push today with good volume back over the 80MA. That's promising for it. Now kind of hanging in here too. Nice big gap up on Now, right? Evening Star reversal for sure. Huge volume on that after earnings. Big move on Now today. Wow, big move. So good stuff there. And then MSTR. Yeah, MicroStrategy, good push right there. Back over the 80MA on this one. Coop. Yep, Coop looking pretty good here too. Also with an Evening Star reversal, so good find on that one. Hubs. Yep, good push to fill the gap. Still below the 80MA on that one. ALGN, crazy swings on this one today. Crazy things on this, but big push there at the 80MA on that one, and then U. Let's take a look. A little bit below the 80 MA there, but kind of hanging in there, looking like a large bull flag, right? So kind of like doing that bull flag type thing. So keep an eye on that one too. Good stuff. Hey, thanks so much, Grant. I really appreciate it. So Bob, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. CRSR, big inside day here today. All right, so kind of pulled back a little bit to the cloud. See how it holds the 50-day moving average on that one. PLTR. Again, let's see how it holds here off of the 80 MA. Huge inside day on that one. And of course, laser waiting on that. Well, yeah, waiting on the wave 3 up. So, if we go to the 60-minute time frame, let's take a look here and see. So here's your push out of the triangle right here. All right, there's your move. There's your first wave up. It's actually pretty well countable right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. The only problem with this is it's looking kind of zigzag-ish. Right. So we're at the 618 right here, kind of off the golden zone. This could be a little A, B, C, and maybe it's starting its wave up here. Right. Why not? Or the only scary thing about it is this is the start of the wave right here, and then it wants to do a symmetrical move down, right? As long as it holds 100%, that could be your wave 2 pullback, and then a wave 3. So we really need to look for impulsive action on this one. It did give us some nice moves though this week, which is great, and then of course it gapped up nicely for us on Monday, which is good. So good stuff there. So that's the only concern right there. If this is your 5-3-5, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? A, B, C. Don't let it trick you if it's an A, B, C if it starts to push down again, right? So that's the only trick on the zigzags. So let's see how it goes right there. So laser, so good stuff there. Ryan, what's going on? Silver, yeah. So big gap up today, crazy range today, but definitely want to keep on the radar to see how that holds with this whole Wall Street bet stuff. Dogecoin, yeah, making that bank. I love it. Good stuff, Michael. Good to see you. And Nokia calls, yeah, Nokia calls not so good today. Not so good today. In the bubble report, though, we mentioned yesterday that there was some unusual put activity on this. Some significant unusual put activity on it. And I believe it was the $5 puts. So those were in the money today pretty nicely. So, so good stuff there. But yeah, they got crushed. And then silly premium off of AMC, absolutely. And then COS. I don't even know what this company is. This is crazy. This is another one of those crazy names here. Coscorp. Anyway, amazing stuff. What do they make? Headphones or something? Anyway, so a big push there, 127 back down again. I mean, these executives at these companies, like, who have like stocks, like, I mean, I think what was it? The CEO of GameStop has like $2.4 million, 2.4 million shares at $5. I'd be like, all right, guys. Well, it's been fun working with you. Anyway, good stuff there. So good. So Mookie, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so we got Apple on the radar. Yeah, Apple kind of rough here today, right? Upper shadow here off of earnings and back below the 80 MA. So they got some work to do if they really want to get going again. Fubo, yeah, again, craziness here today. I mean, basically, Marabou's a candle back down to the 80 MA on that one. CRSR, inside day on that here, kind of hanging on to the cloud, and IPOE. Back above the 80 MA, so that is good for it. And a big spike after hours on that one. Neo, again, still below the 80 MA, but upgrade after hours too. Osiris, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you can make it. Scott, yeah, Triple D. Again, big move on this one, right? So nasty pullback here, but still holding the 80 MA. Let's see if that continues to work its way up. Kind of a big push at the end of the day, so let's see if it can hold. Some good stuff there. And Osiris, yeah, Hum, let's take a look. Humana, wow, that thing got crushed here the other day. Trying to make a move here into the gap, almost filled the gap. It looks like maybe it did fill it. Let's see, the low here was 395.69, and today's high was 395. So yeah, so they did fill the gap, and then can put an upper shadow off that. I don't know. It's got earnings coming up, so a little bit of caution on that. Angel, what's going on? Good to see you. PLTR, Epic. Right, Epic moves on this one. So we're kind of tracking this one too to see if that's a wave pullback right here off the 80 MA. It's up after hours, so let's see if we can get some follow through the upside. And of course, FCell. This actually gave us a good trade here today, intraday. It gave us a nice little 15-hour breakout. Nice little push on this one here. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart to show you what I'm talking about. It was a nice little straight up 15-hour breakout this morning before it pulled back. Right, really nice stuff there. And yeah, relatively decent on that. Good stuff. And good. So Ron, what's going on? Yeah, so we just looked at FCell, but let's take a look at pins. So pins kind of hanging in there. Still below 50-day moving average, but holding on to the cloud. I got earnings coming up on it. Maybe they'll try to do a little bit of an earnings run on it. Let's take a look at Piton. Piton, I actually kind of like this going into tomorrow. Keep an eye on this inside day. See if we can break above that to get above the 80 MA on it. So it's definitely on the bullish radar. So Michael, NG, let's take a look. Yeah, NG, good push on a lot of the gold names here today. So that was a nice find on that one. GHSI. Big push there as well. Big upper shadow. So a little bit of caution there. CRWD. Upper shadow off the ADMA on that one, but looks like it could be close to an evening star reversal, so definitely something to keep an eye on there too. So good stuff. So then S, what does H4 refer to? Where you have to? I'm not sure. I don't remember. Are we talking about like silver? IRBT, like the silver futures. iRobot. Yeah, that had an epic move, really crazy move on that one, and then it was just like all the other ones, and then back down again. iRobot, just silly on that one. I think the algos just went after anything with a short float, and then Fubo with that nasty pullback there, but a great move yesterday on the gap fill to the upside. So Bob, yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much for tuning in. Yeah, oh, awesome. Yeah, we're super happy that you're part of our group too. I really appreciate it. So good stuff there. Osiris, yeah, take a look at CRM. Upper shadow off the 50-day moving average. N. Where we go? N. Okay, we got a new one here. Yeah. Well, this thing is just. I'm not sure what's going on with N here, but and Baba maybe. Where's all my stuff? Where's Baba? Where's Jack Ma? All right, so N. I'm sorry. So Baba. Yeah, so hanging in here, guys. This was a fun gap up the other day here on the Jack Ma news. They saw him for 50 seconds on Zoom, allegedly, right? But it could be working on a little bit of a bull flag right here. I like how it's holding the ADMA. Maybe it'll give it a little bit of an earnings run on that one. And Rock, let's take a look. Rock, yeah, looking like an evening star reversal. So looks like we closed about 50% of the range, a little over 50% of the range of the prior candle there. So keep an eye on that and see if it pushes over these highs if it's ready to roll. So good stuff there. Osiris and Humana, there's a block print for 88 million. Yeah, I mean block prints are tough to read into, right? They happen all the time. So it's something. So sometimes folks like to take notes of the pricing when those blocks come in and put levels up just to see how they handle it later and kind of if they're defended later. So it's something to think about right there. Angel, yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for tuning in. And they have earnings on February 3rd. Okay, cool. Yeah, exactly. The H4 time frame. Oh, I'm just talking about hourly. Here. Yeah, it's the hourly time frame, or the 4H time frame, or like the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, some people like to chart on the 4-hour. Sometimes it removes some noise for them and stuff like that. So yeah, so I think that's what you mean, the 4H or the H4. So good stuff. Nice, good stuff. Thanks, Angel. I really appreciate it. I hope you have an awesome day. And good stuff, guys. Well, I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you guys found this series helpful on volatility. Great chart requests here tonight. If you guys are new here, definitely be sure to click subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification button. And even if you're not new here, whether you're new here or not, please hit the like button. It goes a long way. I always appreciate it. And good stuff. Well, guys, this is the last one for this week, so we will see you guys Sunday night for the Elliott Wave Show with Algo 382 with Paul as we take a look at the Elliott Wave analysis and talk about some Elliott Wave topics. So hope you guys can join in then. I'll also be writing the newsletter this weekend for our group, so if you're not part of our group, definitely look at joining there. The links are in the description. So you can get our weekly newsletter, stay on top of the market, part of our Elite Access group there. You get the Bubble Report with it. The Bubble Report's its own great entity that comes out every morning, so we'd love to have you. And of course, we're in the Discord during the day too, looking at ideas and reviewing chart requests, things like that. So, and coming up with ideas. So good stuff, Reed. Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you guys bright and early for the Bubble Report and in the Discord. And even if you're not in the group, we'll still see you here on YouTube for the Good Morning Market Update and on Twitter. And thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. It was a wonderful trading day tomorrow and a fantastic weekend. And we'll see you guys bright and early. And until then, stay healthy out there. And remember your risk first and stay safe.